It is the first PFF forecast of November, the Sunday night, early Monday morning edition. And we're just going to spend an hour and a half recapping Cowboys-Eagles. Hope that's cool with you guys. No, we won't do that. We're going to do a couple takeaways. It was kind of an up and down slate before Eagles-Cowboys. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll get on to week number 9. Let's rock. All right, before we bitch and moan, before it goes off the rails, give me a takeaway, a salient, coherent takeaway from today's games. I kind of struggled with this, but I think I have one.
My takeaway from today's games is tomorrow's game is a lot more important than we think. So Tampa Bay, New York. Well, Green Bay fell off the wagon a little bit, and then they come back with a impressive victory against Houston. And there was sort of this aura, I'm actually fairly happy. Our math liked Minnesota. But we liked Green Bay sort of, intuitively, and the math ended up winning out. Same thing was true about Tennessee, although that number, the market agreed with us. The market didn't agree with us on Green Bay. That got down to 5.5 before break. Green Bay clearly is a flawed team, okay? Obviously, every team in that trash fire that is the NFC East is a flawed team. Seattle played really well today, but it was pretty wind-dated by – if the Niners get competent quarterback play that entire game, that's a more fun game, right? Seattle's defense is a little bit more exposed. Obviously, New Orleans took Chicago to overtime, right? Tampa has the opportunity, I think, to be the team in the NFC that many regard as the most complete. That's my takeaway.
Interesting. I already think they are.
Okay. I held out hope a little bit for Green Bay, and I held out a little bit of hope. Look, Seattle controlled that game today, but you watch the game and you're still kind of like, is that, Wilson's taking a lot of hits. The defense is garbage.
Well, they had the benefit of Schrodinger's ankle showing up for this game.
By the way, so we were staring 0-5 in the face today, were we not?
When Jimmy G came out of that, when I saw him limping to the locker room, my heart
was like manna from heaven.
Yes, my heart started fluttering. Thoughts of Nick Mullins scoring points. It was beautiful. It was like Christmas morning.
Are quarterbacks for the Niners the same thing as running backs? Like you just ride the hot hand?
I mean, the hot hand. The hot hand is just the one making competent decisions in the pocket.
Yeah, the guy who's like dressed but not starting the game is the hot hand for the Niners. But there's always – this is so funny, and I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but – the Vikings in the 80s, when, they used to basically do this. They used to they had Wade Wilson and Tommy Kramer. All these guys made Pro Bowls at one point. But their head coach, who's really a hoot, I got to show you one of his rants. But he used to literally hook his quarterbacks 2 drives into the game. He's just like, this guy doesn't have it today. I'm putting Tommy in there. And Tommy's just he gets drunk with my friend Sean in Hugo, Minnesota. And he's just this drunk that comes in and is great off the bench. But then you start him the next week and he stinks.
Well, I mean, that's, a lot of volatility there.
Yeah, a lot of volatility there. Are we? And we don't get this anymore because most of these quarterbacks are franchise quarterbacks, whether they're good or not. The team invests in them. There's not this quick hook. Are the Niners the next a team now that might have a quick hook at their quarterback position?
Well, it just depends on the health of Jimmy G's ankle. And by that I mean whether he's completing passes or not. Right. No, I'm with you. I mean, they should have pulled him. If they'd pulled him earlier, they had a chance to win that game. I mean, they still had a chance to win that game.
Well, that game went over in the fourth quarter. But it went over,
thankfully.
And then the Niners packed on another touchdown at the end for good measure. It was a 30-point fourth quarter.
The other one that was massive that looked bleak at one point that I had a lot of money on was Denver LAC.
Well, that game was 3-0 after 1.
And I was like, fuck.
And then the Chargers got a touchdown with at the buzzer at halftime, 14-3. And then I think what turned, our friend Evan Silva was messaging with us on Twitter and in a DM. He's like, when Lindsey busted that run.
It was huge.
The big plays are what kill unders, big time. It's why it's so hard to bet one in college.
And then Drew Lock started demanding apologies at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was.
And that
It was
wonderful.
Honestly, he did a very good job.
New Orleans, Chicago, over
That one went
was
over
also
too.
nice.
The ones that we missed. So obviously we had Cowboys plus 10. I think any self-respecting person had Cowboys plus 10 in that game. I don't feel. I mean, it was a terrible beat. I don't feel that bad about it because it was the right side, and
that fumble was ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said that like the Eagles were only up 6, and 9 would have put the game away.
For what it's worth, and this happens way too often in the NFL, no one had a clue how that actually was upheld as a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like Terry McCauley is sitting there going, I have no idea how this ended up being a touchdown.
I always find that
let's call New York. Let's
Jerome
find out
Boger's crew always seems like the most clueless. Like it always is like him. That's like
rough. It was a rough.
And then like they had the onside kick that didn't work, and then
how bad? How bad are the Eagles?
I had under 14 Eagles second half total, right? And like I thought when they missed the 2 PAT, like they were gonna.
Carson Wentz was losing to Ben DiNucci at halftime, and made Trayvon Diggs look like a really good corner on a couple of different plays.
We also lost the Dolphins-Rams under because there were 7 points in the whole second. Or over. So there's 7 points in the whole second.
Real quick, your takeaway on Cleveland. Because
I think you have to throw that game kind of out.
Here was my takeaway. Baker, I thought, played decently well.
His receivers let him down a lot.
Jarvis Landry needs to make that catch.
And Njoku on a crosser was like wide open, and
the defense got their shit pushed in.
I will. Okay, so I need to pull back a little bit on my Derek Carr hatred. I thought Derek Carr played extremely hard. I thought he played relatively well, especially in the second half. I thought he made some throws. I thought he stood in the pocket. Now, Myles Garrett was more injured than we thought he was, and the Trent Brown thing kind of made us double down a little bit.
Also, Henry Ruggs was in bounds.
Yeah, there's a decent amount in that game. The Hunter Bryant fumbled in the on the Las Vegas side of the field. Mm-hmm. You had the field goal. That was a weird game, but I came away pretty impressed with the Raiders. Like I think that they're not good defensively, but the weather was such that they weren't taken advantage of. And then it allowed they have some kamikazes on their like Jonathan Abram was just running around face masking people and I don't. This doesn't throw egg on the face of hey, they're better without Odell theory. It also I just think you throw this game out in the evaluation of Mayfield because I thought he played fine and the weather was really prohibitive. I mean, it was raining sideways. It was probably the worst weather game of all of them.
It was not good. I would not have succeeded in riding my bike in that weather. Okay, my takeaway from this week's action thus far, is that the Dallas Cowboys, with the 5th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, select Travis Etienne, running back, Clemson, and reestablish the engine that they so desperately need. No, that's not actually my takeaway. That would be absolutely hilarious.
If they played only Tony Pollard tonight, what's the result? Is it a little different?
It's a little better. Ben DiNucci was very bad.
I thought that the reverse stuff was awful.
When did Ben DiNucci throw a pass and you thought there was a better chance of a Dallas Cowboy player catching it than an Eagles player catching it?
Well, I thought that the quick rhythm stuff on early downs could have had...
Yeah, the screens to Michael Gallup had promise. Yeah. Yes. The 15 reverses. Someone was like, hey, guys, you need to get creative on offense. You are not doing your quarterbacks any help. Yeah. And they looked up creativity, and all they saw were reverses.
The neast question I have is how many yards per attempt did Ben DiNucci average in Shanahan's offense with the Niners? That's the thing. Shanahan would have if he's the coach of the Dallas Cowboys tonight, wins that game outright.
So far through, the pending review, Nick Mullins, the 8th highest graded quarterback in PFF.
But don't you agree with me? There weren't plays that made DiNucci that were quick, get out of my hand, get the ball out of my hands quickly. There was some of those, but they weren't like these high leverage stressing the defense out plays that Shanahan deploys.
No, and they're not on Shanahan's level. Unsurprisingly,
and I wish. Yeah. Anyway, it was disappointing. I mean, honestly, I think Dallas was the right side, clearly. Philadelphia stinks. Philadelphia has a 5-game stretch in the end of the season where they might not win one of those games.
Here are the quarterbacks that graded below 45 thus far, pending review, things subject to change. Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, and Ben DiNucci. Just thought that would be interesting. Okay, my actual takeaway. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
If I were redrafting wide receivers in the NFL right now, I would select DK Metcalf first overall.
If you're not taking quarterbacks.
I'm redrafting wide receivers.
Yeah. Well, wide receivers are the most valuable non-quarterback position,
right.
so you take him anyway.
Yeah,
it's fair. I mean, I took Chris Godwin, and look where we are.
No, and here's my rationale. He is as physically robust a specimen as you will find. He appears to be unlike Julio, right? A guy that in the low red zone is pretty damn reliable. And he just waxes single coverage left and right. I know Patrick Peterson did a decent job against him yesterday, but whooped Stephon Gilmore a couple times earlier in the season, has the most yards against single coverage of any wide receiver in the NFL by a pretty sizable margin. Absolutely 8 today against a pretty decent Niners defense. That was my kind of player takeaway, because I thought from a team perspective, honestly, looking at all of these games, and I know that the Steelers are undefeated, but I thought, and I'm not taking anything away from a Chiefs destruction of the Jets. Every team here has a couple of flaws, and I think there's kind of shaping up to be, and we'll see what happens on Monday night, but a top tier of Chiefs, Bucs, and Steelers. But all three of those teams, I think, have a pretty decent flaw. Yeah. And I think actually you could make an argument that the Steelers might have the biggest flaw despite being undefeated, which is how much faith do you really have in Ben Roethlisberger?
Hot take. I have more faith in Big Ben than I have in Lamar currently.
Oh, that's not a hot take at all. Lamar was really bad today.
Lamar today, we haven't done quarterback charting yet, but if you do basically adjusted completion percentage, take out throwaways, take out drops, all that kind of stuff, the second least accurate quarterback in this week was Ben DiNucci. The least accurate was Lamar Jackson.
Well, but here's and you're dead on. The accuracy is bad, but the accuracy wasn't great last year. But you know what we didn't have last year? Were these plays that look like Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, another fumble, oh, an interception.
But you know why that is?
Pick six.
Because of variance, right? Like we know that. I mean, you said this, I think, when you were on NFL Network last year. It was like, Wilson has this many plays when he's behind. Lamar has like a fourth as many. So like he's just not required to do these things. And then like the other thing that's not trivial is that the teams that the Ravens face are just a little bit better. Like the Steelers last year took the Ravens to overtime, I believe, in Pittsburgh with Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph on the team. Yep. So then you add in Big Ben, who's not great, not perfect, but like the defense still isn't bad. And, then you get a pretty good effort out of the team. And then, so what does Lamar do? You have to put Lamar in kind of crappy situations. And what happens? He's not quite as, and then they don't have good receivers on their team. Like Snead actually played pretty well today for him, but like they don't have good wide receivers. So what are you going to do?
Des Bryant.
I thought they ran the football well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they bullied the Steelers a little bit, but you need your quarterback to make plays. And, when I look, he had 4 turnover-worthy plays, which was, tied for second most. DiNucci had 5. Wentz had 4, and then Jared Goff had 5. So, like, it's just, he's not playing at an MVP caliber level. He's not playing, but he's also just not playing at, like, an elite where that team's elite. And I think you look, so here's a question I have. On a neutral field, the Ravens are favored against Tennessee, yes. But is it that big?
No. Through 8 weeks, Lamar Jackson, PFF passing grade, 72. Right about where Cam Newton's is. I think people would be surprised to hear that. It is below Daniel Jones, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert,
We're going to talk about this when we talk about Jets versus New England next week, but that game was almost the worst case scenario if you're a Pats fan, right? They cover the spread. They don't win outright. Cam
Newton actually plays kind of decently.
Yeah, like I had a little bit of New England plus 175. We had them plus, I believe, 4.5. It got down, so we didn't actually have them on the close. But then, so I was rooting for New England, and he kind of sucked at first, but like late in the game, he was very like fun to watch.
Got his over.
What's that? Yeah, got his passing yardage over. Yeah, by like a 2 yards or something. But then you look at him now. They're what, 2-5, and Buffalo's sitting here at 6-2, I believe. So like your chances of winning that division are pretty small. You look over at the AFC North, and it's the Baltimore second place now.
Who's their most tradable asset?
Gilmore's old, but probably him.
Think so? Would they trade Cam?
No. Who would they trade him to?
Oh, there's a lot of teams out there that
could use like a backup. I mean, if you're trading for Cam now, you're basically making a concerted effort to avoid your quarterback situation. Like if you're Philly, do you trade for him?
The Jags.
Yeah, but the Jags are tanking, right? The Jags are going to start Jake Ludon next week. Oregon
Right,
State.
that's kind of my point. The Bears.
I thought Foles was gutty today.
Yeah, of course.
If I have to look at another David Montgomery run, by the way, like Matt Nagy, where have you gone?
Gouge my eyes out. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on to week number 9.
Okay.
Ready? All right. There's some good games. I have 4 very good games. We're going to start on Thursday night. Schrodinger's ankle and Jimmy G play host to the Green Bay Packers. This is a great game. So many storylines here. Will Jimmy G's ankle heal in 3 days? Will Aaron Rodgers be able to deal with being in the same state as his family members and come back from a loss to the Minnesota Vikings? Will Kyle Shanahan, based on what the Minnesota Vikings did to the Green Bay Packers, this should be an all-out slaughter for the 49ers in their run game. But this is a different Green Bay team, right? The funny thing is it's really not.
Than last year?
Yeah.
Nothing really improved on Green Bay.
They're the same team, but like
they
Aaron
got rid
Rodgers
of
is playing better.
Blake Martinez, but like
that's what's so interesting about this Packers team. I was thinking about it as they were losing to the Vikings. I was like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is way, way better, but everything else around him is the same. And if those players don't hold up their end of the bargain at all, there's only so much Aaron Rodgers can do, So it'd be very interesting because San Francisco killed them last year.
He looked really frustrated today.
He played fine today, by the way. It wasn't his fault, really.
Well, it was weird. The Vikings played a perfect game. The first half of the game, there was 4 possessions, and Green Bay got the ball first.
Yeah, a perfect game for the Vikings, by the way, means that Kirk Cousins does not.
Yeah, and he but then they got the game to a tie game by halftime, and then they got the ball out of the second half. Like Green Bay never stopped them. It was like sort of worked out perfectly for them. But I don't know where did you guess the line would be?
Assuming I'm off on this a little bit because of what happened in San Francisco, but I had San Francisco as a 2.5-point favorite. I obviously thought pretty highly of what San Francisco had been doing.
Unreal. So the look ahead.
What did you have it at?
I said San Francisco would be 2.5-point favorites. Here's what I said. Green Bay struggles a bit. They did. San Francisco plays Seattle tough. That's a little bit of a
not sure about
interesting.
that.
The look ahead was San Francisco -1. So I moved the line towards San Francisco. Green Bay is currently a 3-point favorite on the road on Thursday night. I feel like we have.
Oh, buddy. Here we go.
You're going to take all your winnings from Biden on election night to back
I'm going
the
to
truck
take
up.
the windfall on props that came about today and put it all.
You're going to back the truck up for the Niners here. I mean, it's -120, so there's a little bit of use to it. And I don't even see it actually on my book. It's on BetOnline is where I saw it. BetOnline seems to be the place to be.
.ag.
.ag. Stop.
Antigua's a great place.
Yeah, so that's where we're at there. Yeah, like this is just a matchup game, right? Like if Mullins plays like, and he's healthy and he plays well, or they honestly are like pragmatic enough to go with a hot hand at the time, like their offense is certainly able to keep up.
You don't think Jimmy G's ankle is gonna heal?
What is
I really like Jimmy G. I want him to figure it out. I have a really hard time believing this whole ankle shindig. It feels really, really like I'm not playing well, my ankle hurts kind of deal.
I remember where we.
I don't want it to be the case.
I remember where we were when he signed that extension. We weren't living here at the time. We were visiting.
No, we were not living here.
Yeah. And you tweeted out this rock that has been rejected now has become the cornerstone. That was your.
I thought that was a good tweet.
It was a good tweet. I stopped our meeting and said Jimmy G got an extension, and you were just so thrilled. And look where we are now. Although they made it to the Super Bowl last year. So.
Yeah, I see San Francisco plus 2.5.
I mean, they're a teaser leg at least, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens go to Indianapolis, face the Colts, who destroyed the Detroit Lions in a very Lions-ish fashion. Lions scored to start the game and then got plowed.
Yeah, their defense is bad. Indy was a play we had, and then the market moved with us, so it ended up not being a play.
This is interesting. So I had Indy plus 3.5. I assumed Baltimore was going to win a close game against Pittsburgh. What did you have?
Which game again?
Baltimore, Indy.
Oh, yeah, the battle of the old Baltimore teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They won't bring that up on the broadcast.
Right. Okay. I said Indy plus 3.5. Indy beats Detroit. Baltimore struggles with Pittsburgh. Oh, I was on. 3.5. And it's what did you have?
2.5.
Okay, I see 3, but yeah.
It's minus 120.
Yeah. What would compel you, though, to think that Rivers could do well against this defense?
Nothing. So Baltimore.
So is that the easiest teaser leg of the freaking weekend?
Lamar
is Niners plus 8.5, and then Ravens. Well, no, never mind. Okay,
no.
I'm sorry.
So here's the thing: Baltimore, the Steelers were a bad matchup for Lamar Jackson. Now he did not play well, did not inspire confidence, but
encouragement.
Indianapolis is a great matchup for both their defense and their offense because they don't have that same kind of blitzing, wreaking havoc sort of deal. Lamar Jackson can dictate things. I am worried about Ronnie Stanley being out. However, bounce back game for the Baltimore Ravens would be my take. So at 2.5, I think I would lean Baltimore here. I mean, I had them at 3.5, and I'm not gonna.
I said 3.5 as well. So
they
I
moved
would
the ball.
be...
They moved the ball against Pittsburgh still.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, as it stands, we already like some San Fran plus 3 and some ball minus 2.5.
Some spread. Seattle Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills escaped just barely. I had the Buffalo Bills getting 3 at home against the Seahawks traveling across the country, and I didn't really know how I felt about this. I'm going to guess that now it is less than 3.
I'm dumb. I said Buffalo pick.
Oh, wow.
The look ahead was plus 1.5. I said Seattle struggles a bit. Buffalo beats New England. Seattle did not struggle a bit. It is plus 3. Buffalo.
Wow, I nailed it.
Yeah.
Look at that. This feels right to me. Seattle's defense.
Yeah, I'm not laying it with
exist.
Seattle. There's no freaking way.
Does not exist.
Josh Allen's going to be back into the discussion.
Oh, a win here would put him in there. By the way, right now it's a 3-horse MVP race or a 2-horse MVP race.
Mahomes, Wilson,
Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rodgers is right now on the outside.
You want a funny bit of trivia? Just once.
Is it from the 80s? Because if so, I'm not going to get it right.
The Monday Night Football game before the last election was Buffalo versus Seattle. Tyrod Taylor played his ass off. The Bills covered.
What an incredible piece of trivia.
Yeah.
This is why we record the podcast.
They had 4 timeouts, and made an election joke.
You guys are welcome. Okay, best game of the weekend is Sunday night. Thank God. What a turn of events. We go from Dallas, Philly to New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Actually, why don't you go first here?
I said 3.5. Look ahead was -4. So I said Tampa be 3.5 point favorites. New Orleans plays well today was my statement, which is not quite right because
it was a rough set of circumstances.
The Bears are not particularly good at playing the game we call American football.
No. I had Tampa Bay -4.
Okay, Bucks. Is it up there yet?
Is there a line here? Let's see if I can find one. I see 4.5 at the Superbook look ahead. They have started throwing those out there now.
Okay. Yeah, because we still have to play the game tonight.
I think that's fair.
I wouldn't lay it with Tampa.
No.
But the hard part is New Orleans is kind of like New Orleans is just like watching paint dry on offense. You're just waiting for Kamara to bust one.
Yeah, I'm not taking the Saints either.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Especially because here's the thing for Tampa Bay in this game. They have the better record right now, but if they lose this game, they're in a real tough spot because they're now 0-2 against New Orleans. So
it's really hard for me to think about that might be the handicap against Tampa Bay tomorrow night at -13 against the Giants is that the look ahead.
Absolutely.
But they probably know that they have to win all these games.
Yeah. Okay, those are the good games. We now go to the mediocre games. These may be a little better than mediocre. Actually, no. I take that back. These are mediocre. Chicago at Tennessee. What the hell did you make of the Titans? Okay, screw the Titans for a second. What did you make of the Bengals?
The Bengals were opportunistic defensively.
That's what you did.
So there was it was noisy. Okay. So the look ahead was 6.5. I said Tennessee would be -6. And I said Tennessee's defense struggles with Cincinnati, which was 100% true. Tennessee's defense is not good enough. They're going to fight. They're going to have to fight and claw to win that division.
Yeah. Joe Burrow probably going to end up as a top 5-ish graded quarterback. Played without 4 of his offensive linemen.
But Tennessee doesn't have the pass rushers to make it work. That was the handicap right this morning. Was we were they don't. Clowney's their only guy. What did you make the line?
I had Tennessee 6.5 point favorites.
Yeah, so it's 6, but it's trending probably towards 5.5. Mm-hmm. So if you like the Bears, you're going to take them. Although this is one where I
figured Tennessee would have beaten the Bengals. Now, probably less than 7, but
yeah. Tennessee.
Do you think you'll be able to bet Chicago the rest of the season?
No. Today was a unique situation where they came back. If they would have shown half that spunk against the Rams, we might have gotten through the.
I was sitting there watching that game, going, "Are you fuckers serious?"
Yeah. Nick Foles winding up to throw it down.
The Rams and Jared Goff are bad. Jared Goff was bad in the game against Chicago, and you fuckers could not put together one coherent offensive drive.
The Rams are 5-3 now. We'll still might get to that under. Look at Rams' schedule here.
Okay. Well, you do that. Next game. Detroit, Minnesota. This is interesting. I wonder how far off I am here. I had Minnesota as a 4.5 point favorite in this game.
Ooh. I'm adult. Okay. I said Minnesota -2.5. Minnesota plays Green Bay tough is what I said. The look ahead was 1.5. So I moved off of that but they have it at 3.5.
Okay.
So they moved on Minnesota
a
lot given that game.
Is this not also a little bit about Detroit?
I agree, but
Detroit's just
but I have to see. I don't want to write up Detroit tomorrow because I need to see what Kenny Galladay's dealing with because he came out. He didn't even catch a ball this week.
True.
If Kenny Galladay is healthy, this is an auto bet. The Vikings are terrible defensively. I'm sorry.
Yes,
The Lions have more weapons than the freaking Packers do, and their defense isn't all that much worse.
Do you think today's game for Green Bay helps them make the move for Will Fuller? Like toss in whatever else they need to?
Yeah.
Maybe they could give a second-round pick like A.J. Dillon.
Aaron's going to get mad, but look, you guys.
You think Josiah DeGuara is on the trading block? Or is he too integral to their new offense?
Look, this draft, not about this year, guys.
Love you, Aaron.
Wide receivers don't make an impact. DK Metcalf doesn't exist.
But
Justin Jefferson doesn't exist.
Per my research, fullbacks in about year 7 really do. So that's
look,
to lock one in.
That wheel route to Josiah DeGuara is going to hit one of these weeks.
He may be the next Kyle Juszczyk. We don't know.
Are they going to dress Jordan Love in a game this year? Is he going to wear the Packers uniform?
I don't know. Does he deserve it? Has he carried the G enough?
Yeah, so I think Lions is the only side to be. There's no way I'm laying more than a field goal with the freaking Vikings.
Yeah, no. I don't like this game a whole lot. The Lions are a disaster.
Yeah.
Man, what do the Lions do? Should they just tear it all down?
Well, look, Patricia inherited it.
I don't want to sound too negative, but there are a lot of teams in the NFL where I'm just like, what are you doing?
The Lions are a very curious case, right? Because they were 9-7 consecutive years and thought that wasn't acceptable, Jim Caldwell.
Right.
And then, you're fucking Detroit.
Then they brought in a rocket scientist.
Yeah, then they brought in a rocket scientist.
It turns out everything New England ever had was Tom frickin' Brady.
Yeah. Although, Brian Flores.
That game today was about Jared Goff pooping himself on the
field.
But
the Dolphins
defecating everywhere.
Dolphins last year at this time were 0-7, and we were – remember that Monday night game in week – I think it was week 7.
They're spunky, but here, riddle me this for a second. It's all relative expectation. They had Adam Gase as their coach for a while. So, let's not overreact here.
Gase took them to the playoffs.
Jesus. Okay. I was struggling to find good games, so I put this one in here. Carolina, Kansas City.
I think this game's going to be fun.
Of course you do. You're a Kansas City fan.
Yeah.
Today's game was fun.
I laid the 19.5.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I got nervous mid-game and took 21.5
Good
for the Jets, so I was kind of not as good as I wanted to be.
Yeah, lack of cojones, as they say.
Cojones. I also gave them out as a teaser leg in the show.
Yeah, that was good. You were good today on the show.
I
had a mental breakdown, but
well,
things happen.
It wasn't always your fault. So I think I said 11 was my guess.
Okay. I had 10.5.
It looks like 11.5 minus 115. If you want your Chiefs, you got to take them now. Well, no, you don't actually.
Why did I say? So why was I short here?
Rest for Bridgewater and the Panthers.
I mean, they're gonna have CMC back, which
is that a good thing?
Makes me nervous because I'm worried they're gonna.
Here's something I like. I'm actually gonna bet it. Kansas City or the game over 51.
That's the total.
I'm gonna make a little bit of a check to weather. Kansas City weather. So Carolina has the time off from playing on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So Sunday is supposed to be 69, nice, and 20-mile-per-hour winds. So the wind is kind of an issue, although it's Bridgewater's passes that might flutter a bit.
Flutter a little bit.
I don't know. That seems like a low number.
The total? Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, did the handicap of the Jets, it came through, right? The Jets can't score. So they got plucky in the first half, kicked a bunch of field goals. But in the second half of the game, once the Chiefs got past being up by 21 or more.
Also, can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
The Chiefs kept Patrick Mahomes in that game for a half too long.
Don't you think?
What was that about? He clears his. All he needed to be in there for was to clear his passing touchdowns.
So the prop king could.
Which, as I said, would clear in the first half, and it did. And then for some reason, Andy Reid didn't get my message. Said, "Hey, buddy, you can take him out now."
Can I tell you why?
Please, are they trying to get him
12 targets to Kelsey, 6 targets to Hill, 9 targets to Hardman, 5 targets to Robinson, 4 targets to Pringle. The Chiefs' offense has not been this was a game to sort of like get people right. Like they kind of have been off for the last few games.
Yeah, it's the Jets. We know that they can play well against the Jets.
But that's not the point. Like this was like an extended practice.
I'm not
Plus, you got to get
a real reason.
You got to get Kelsey to 1,000 yards. He's the only tight end in league history.
I think they kept all their starters in to, help Le'Veon Bell get 7 yards on 6
Well, also like also Mahomes is like deserving of MVP consideration, but understandably he's not getting as much because Brady and Wilson are better stories this year.
Yeah, and also he hasn't played as well as them.
Okay. I sure that's
a factual statement, but yeah, okay.
Sure, yeah. Grade wise, a little bit lower.
It's a factual statement. Go watch the freaking games.
I do watch the games.
He played well against Baltimore, and he has had some very meh games.
Yeah, he has okay.
He has an incredible supporting cast, an offensive genius and guru, and has had some meh games. He's fantastic. You're taking him over every other player in the NFL by a mile. Yes.
He's leading the league in passing yards now. But I agree with you 100%. I think that's why they kept him in the game. That was your question, wasn't it? Why is he playing?
Why is he playing against the Jets?
Because he wanted to put up 4-16-5. That's why. So that our
Super Bowl champion.
So that our buddy Seren, who had a segment last week on a show, basically like, what's wrong? Like basically, like why aren't we talking about Mahomes as the MVP? It's like, well, because they're boating every team, and then he just has to throw like 12 times. In this game, they got guys involved. They got like, when Sammy Watkins went out against the Raiders,
I hope he wins the MVP because of this Jets game.
Yeah. Okay.
Los Angeles Chargers and Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. I have the Vegas Raiders favored by 3.
This game actually had a chance to have playoff implication until the Chargers shit themselves in Denver, right?
Yeah, that was bad.
I said...
I nailed this one.
I actually missed this. I forgot to guess this one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, it is 3.
I see it as 1.5 on BetOnline.
Except, wait, I have Vegas favored by 3. This look-ahead line has the Chargers favored by 3. Did I get the home team wrong?
And now it's 1.5. Total on the game, 52.5. Does that total seem low?
Oh, it's in Los Angeles. That's why.
Yeah.
That would explain it. Okay.
52.5 seems low, but the Raiders kind of like to play slow. So maybe that's why I don't.
In fairness to me, there's really not a huge difference between playing in Vegas with no fans and in Los Angeles with no fans in brand new stadiums. Mm-hmm. So I actually am going to use this as a way to kind of handicap this game. And I think it should probably be a pick. Are these the same team?
As I said on the show today, Justin Herbert can't win.
These are like the same team, right?
Is it true though? Like Herbert, he obviously makes great plays, right? But
okay, but how much of this is also I think when I watch the Chargers play, there's something to what happens when they have a lead, and the lack of aggressiveness that they have, their desire to run the football. I really like Anthony Lynn as a person. I'm not sure that he has quite figured out the way to put teams away. Anyway.
I mean, I think that's a very fair assessment of him.
Okay.
Seems like a great guy.
Do you like Raiders +3 at all?
If I could get it at +3, I would. Yeah, for sure. I don't think it is available. Is it available +3? I see it at
+2.5.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. Miami, Arizona.
The Fighting Tuas.
Mm-hmm. Tua versus Kyler in Arizona.
Arizona off a bye. The Dolphins off of a big win, but kind of like a fluky win.
Crazy stat for you. Least efficient offense. Actually, I need to check this again because the Cowboys play.
The Cowboys probably got that now.
But
they were the least efficient game before Sunday Night Football as a passing game.
Let's see what happened. Oh, nope. Drum roll, please. The worst offense on a per play basis in the NFL in week 8 in 2020, the year of our Lord, were the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins destroyed the Los Angeles Rams in thanks to Jared Goff and his just disgusting play today. It was really disastrous. So Tua, there's really nothing, like, you're not that excited about it. The Cardinals, by the same token, are not going to scare him. They should not scare him a whole lot. I had Arizona as a 4.5 point favorite.
Mm-hmm. I did 4.5. What did I say here? No, I said 5.5. I said Miami plays okay today. The look ahead was 6.
And what is it? 5.5?
4.5.
Oh, it is 4.5. Wow. Okay. Wow.
We kind of nailed the handicap last week, by the way, when we said, like the number seems short, but all the things that the Rams have to deal with, and they certainly looked like a team that was less prepared.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the Rams are not. They're the worst big play offense in the league. They got down 8. They got down. What was it, 28-7, and they tried to speed out their way to 3 straight touchdowns. They have no deep. Like, have they thrown a deep post all year? Have they thrown they can't throw fades. Their receivers are too soft to catch fades. Like, Robert Woods is good, and Kupp, but can either one of those guys big? Have those guys caught a deep ball that wasn't one of those corners? Like, their offense is a stay from behind or play from ahead offense. They can't come from behind.
Yeah.
I mean, the Buffalo game notwithstanding, I think a lot of that was running weirdly, but their passing offense is like a train wreck.
I'm with you. Okay, now we get to the very bad games, and there are some very bad games because once again, there is an NFC East clash of the Titans, the New York Giants and the Washington Redskins football team. This is in Washington.
Yeah,
I have the football team favored by 2.5.
3.5, and that's what it is.
Okay.
I mean, you're taking what? You taking the Giants here? I mean, obviously you have to.
3.5.
This number doesn't go anywhere based on what happens tonight. If they get boat raced and Daniel Jones comes out of it healthy, this is still going to be 3.5.
Yeah, I think.
If they somehow beat Tampa Bay, then this is a 3, right?
Oh, I think it crosses 3.
So if you like,
but at 3.5, wow, we both yawned there. That's not good. I think I would take the Giants getting 3.5. Both these teams.
No,
are
that's
terrible.
the only side.
Both these teams are terrible.
That's the only side.
Daniel Jones is playing decently well, surprisingly, without Saquon Barkley. I can't believe people thought that a quarterback could possibly exist without.
If he didn't have Evan Engram, he'd have another win under his belt.
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
This is the better quarterback getting points.
It's dog shit teams, by the way, and then still
Philadelphia's bad.
grinding it out.
Okay. We move onward to the New England Patriots going to the Jets. If they had just won that game, what a different story it would be for New England. But now, how do you find a way to lose to the Jets?
You lay off this game. I have no clue. By this time, they might not have McCourty. They might not have Gilmore. They might not have Tooney.
I mean, this would be the biggest Bill Belichick move. They have been absolutely working the Jets for the past 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He then comes back and
Screws them out of a draft pick.
finds a way to lose this game. This game is going to be 0-0, and he's going to take a safety to lose the game. And Gase is not going to realize that you can take a safety. He's going to forget that part. And the Patriots are going to lose this game. The Jets are somehow going to win one more, and the Patriots are going to get the number 1 overall pick and take Trevor. I can't believe I got COVID, Lawrence. How do you think he got it?
I don't know. We should ask our expert. Renner.
He's engaged. So whenever someone gets coronavirus, I immediately go to the only reason that people are stupid enough to get coronavirus. They're single and trying to find some tail. That's literally the reason that people get coronavirus.
I think that there are enough there are enough entanglements, but if you're a college football player, like the problem is with Lawrence, he doesn't have a whole lot to lose from contracting it other than the risk associated with it, which are existent but not as big for a 21-year-old guy. So like he might not be that like careful.
Sure.
Like we're like the guy from BYU is going through all the protocols because he needs to snap every single game to become a first round pick. The Zach Wilson guy. But what does Lawrence do? Justin Fields is probably not catching up to him. So
you think he just like went to Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah, he just bellied up and watched his future team, the Jets, play.
Yeah. It's interesting because I always you're right about the entanglements thing, but I think about myself, for example, and I don't want to get it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We stay a safe I have kids who go to school.
Right. And
so I stay away from people who are not part of my family because there's a decent chance that something could happen to somebody. But like for Lawrence, like he doesn't have kids. He's got one. Like maybe his fiance is a teacher or something, and like there's kind of that.
She's not. She goes to Clemson.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Maybe she got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, like
this was.
There's a number of ways that people get COVID without being reckless. Like it's just chance.
Yeah.
And then there's a number of ways that they get it.
That's
by
what
being
I'm saying.
Reckless.
I'm not assuming that he was being reckless.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure. Because for many, I would jump to that conclusion. For him, I would not.
Yeah. I would assume that not.
But wow, it would be a real fall from grace if we
Yeah.
found out that was the reason.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Sorry, did we guess this game yet? No. I have the Jets. So guessing this before, I thought there was a decent chance that the Patriots won the game against Buffalo.
Yep. Well, there was.
Now, if they did, this is probably 10.5. I have the Jets getting 9.5 points, and I feel like this has to be wrong.
The look ahead was 7. I wrote in my notes, Jets are rolled today. But I also thought that the Bills would come out as a winner. So I said New England New England minus 7.5.
Mm-hmm. It's 7. Okay. So
you can't lay it with New England here.
No, absolutely not.
But like the Jets, if the New England gets out to a 7-0 lead, it's insurmountable.
Or
you tease it down to
is the smart play to take the Jets, knowing that Bill Belichick is.
And I don't think it's the smart play to take the Jets
in
any circumstance.
Just check it. 2-0. New England loses.
The Jets are very skilled at losing. The Patriots probably have.
But it would be just like the Jets to not.
But the Patriots have to spend some weeks figuring out how to get as good as the Jets are at losing.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, Pittsburgh, Dallas. I'm assuming that Andy Dalton finds a way back into this game.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't guess this one either. Must not have.
That being said, I have Dallas as a 13.5 point underdog at home.
I don't see a lineup. That's probably why I didn't guess it.
Let's see here. Yeah, no line. I mean, does it clear 2 touchdowns?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, dude, Pittsburgh just beat Baltimore on the road.
Yeah.
And Dallas, you watch that game, there was probably a little bit of spunk. People are like, oh, Danucci's playing. Danucci.
Yeah, I put in here 14.5. No, has to be 13.5. But now I'm looking back on it and I'm like, man. You're not taking Andy Dalton against the Pittsburgh defense, are you?
Nope.
Yeah.
It was never a profitable thing in the past either.
Nothing. There's no chance. You could not pay me to take Andy Dalton. Okay. Houston, off a bye, plays Jacksonville, and is it really going to be Luton? I think they're going to start Glennon, right? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Both have kind of long necks.
I have Houston as a 6.5 point favorite.
Same. And I think that's where the line is, isn't it? 6.5, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't I can't lay the points to the Texans on the road, but
Yeah, and maybe they'll have gone through a fire sale now, so you want to be careful about that.
Yeah, that's the big thing when you think about. So when I have some games written down here, like we have San Francisco, Baltimore, maybe New York, although New York might fire sale too. You want to, if you're going to bet these early games, you probably want to make sure there's not going to be a lot of roster turnover.
No team in the NFC East is actually fire selling. The Cowboys should.
Yeah, the problem is there's an interesting part there, right? Because McCarthy might be on the hot seat, but Jerry's literally never fired a coach.
But also,
early.
one easy way to get off the hot seat is to say we're building for next year. So here's what you do: you trade, you fix the Eagles' problems at wide receiver. You trade Trayvon Diggs to the Eagles. Carson Wentz finally has someone he can connect with.
They had great chemistry.
They're just on the same page. I mean, they got it. Incommunicado.
I still can't believe they called that fumble a return for touchdown. What the living fuck was that?
The type of ref decision that game deserved. Just brain melting.
This fat ass is laying there with the ball.
I can't believe that was the Sunday
Rodney
night
McLeod
game.
turning around every 5 yards to make sure the play's not being blown dead. God damn it. All right, never mind. We move on.
I have one more game, and this is Denver-Atlanta in Atlanta.
I said Atlanta -3. Denver plays okay.
Yeah, that's what I had too. Is that what it is?
Atlanta -4.
4.5. I see.
Okay. Does Denver fire sale? Maybe.
Denver. They just won.
Yeah, they're in the playoff race. They're 3-4.
Yeah. You kidding me? Apologies written to Drew Lock.
Playoffs?
Are we gonna get some apologies in here? Or is that the different PFF podcast?
Yeah, it's
you will not see me signing apology letters anytime soon.
That was Drew Lock's first good game in his career.
First good. It was a half.
Half a game.
Half of a game. So here's one thing that I really want to fade. Raheem Morris in that post-game press conference. My voice is a disaster right now.
It's like you're like fucking 13.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't know why. He talked in that post-game press conference as if they did everything right. And I'm watching it, they did not do everything right at all.
People are like, "Oh, if Raheem Morris closes a game against the Detroit Lions, he's 3-0 as head coach."
Stop.
You played Minnesota, Detroit, and Carolina, and Teddy sat out half that game.
Calvin Ridley out. I just have no faith in Drew Lock. I just don't.
Yeah, it's tough to go to bat with that guy. Might be worth.
I need to see him do it for a whole game.
Might be worth a money line sprinkle though.
One time. Yeah, 4 and 4.5 is a decent number. Okay, that is the Week 9 slate. I don't think I missed any games this time.
What are we thinking? What are we thinking?
Many times, but
San Fran and Baltimore.
Man, not knowing what's going on with the ankle situations.
We just go Baltimore, or we go Giants. Add Giants. Hard part with the Giants is that they play tomorrow night, whatever your frame of reference.
I like both. I hate fading Rodgers after a loss, though, man. Coming home.
Well, you know what Pettin's going to do after a game full of getting just gashed in the run game. He's going to play more dime. So Tevin Coleman hurt though, so you guys might not have a chance.
Debo.
Who's running back for you guys by now?
Debo.
Is Debo back? So there's so much uncertainty with this game. Let's throw that one out. Let's wait until Wednesday to talk about San Francisco.
Okay.
Should we go Baltimore -2.5, NYG +3.5?
I like both of those.
I think we're getting the benefit of the doubt.
Let's do that and the Carolina Kansas City over.
Oh, nice. Okay. KCO 5-1. All right.
I like those. Maybe we'll come up with others as we.
It might be 14 to 18 other picks in there.
You never know. It could happen. Once you get over 18, though, that's a little much for me to write up at this hour of
Dude, I could barely get to 3 by the time
we have a really good show coming up on Wednesday, by the way. We're going to preview the Tampa Bay New Orleans game with our friend, Tampa Bay Trevor Sigma of the Draft Network. That's going to be a lot of fun. So you want to keep subscribing to this podcast at least until then. All right. Well, that was week 8. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. See ya.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.